You picked a good night, huh? You picked a good night. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh.
What's this? What is this?
I believe, is that your own tequila?
Is it tequila? Then I'm happy.
Is that
Good health. Listen, before we start, I had last year castmates, Bill Murray, Matt Damon, and Hugh Bonneville come on the show.
Yes.
And they left the premiere, I left them drunk. And they got here, and they got drunker. And I've never seen a television show like that in my life.
We never had one like that before. Because they arrived drunk, and they got drunker. By the end, it was like, I'm really glad the show's over now.
They were throwing fruit at the audience.
Bill Murray threw a whole pineapple into the audience. It could have ended badly.
That's like a challenge.
No, dude. No.
What will you throw?
I'm going to throw Brit. We're going to throw Brit at the audience.
So, yeah, you're very welcome, all of you. And it's like George Clooney, I feel like the party can start. The party can start, George Clooney's here.
Yeah.
And thank you for using my whole name. Because I usually, you know, I like George Clooney.
We all like George Clooney.
I have a new couple of nephews who are like 7 years old who I've now married into, and they come up to me and they go, "Hey, George Clooney." Not Uncle George. I'm George Clooney.
I'm with them. George seems over-familiar, so I'm just George.
No, anything. Sir George, I don't care. Anything.
Because everyone who works with you, they always say you make work fun. Is that...
I didn't say that.
You didn't
no,
say
no, I didn't say that.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did. You said people... Actually, it sounds kind of annoying. You said people whistled on their way to work when George was on set.
Well, I whistled. Happily so. Yeah, no, he does. He's the man that... No, come on. You are.
Let me just say, we had a lot of doctor talk between us.
We did.
There was a lot of...
I didn't understand any of it, but we did have it. Yeah.
I was surprised you didn't remember. You didn't remember any of it.
Kidding?
None of it.
No. He remembers whole reams of stuff, which from considerably longer ago, and I cannot remember any of it. No. I could remember it 10 minutes after I've said it.
So the gobbledygook about half a statin of blah, 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 you know all that.
What was that really long word that you would say?
Supraventricular tachyarrhythmia.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, I'll tell you this.
So good.
When we shot that scene, I did not get that word right. But I've never gotten it wrong since. Yeah. It was a horrifying experience.
The thing about, I suppose, your career, you were an actor and you were doing well, you were in things. You know, you had a career that lots of actors would have liked to have had, you know, being in TV shows and making a living.
Right. Well, later in my life, it took a long time to get there. I did a lot of very questionable jobs along
But they were
the way.
jobs.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and then, but then ER came along and...
Everything changed.
Yeah, and I read in it you can pinpoint the moment when you sort of stopped being a jobbing actor and...
Yeah, there you go. That's a good look right there.
That was the moment.
I always love when they show that picture and then they cut back to you and they're like, oh. Wow.
Don't applaud that! Don't clap that!
It's the truth. They were like this. Oh, no. Stop.
You look fine, sir. You look fine.
You're doing okay.
Yeah, I remember a moment, because, you know, there's a moment when, you know, getting famous is when they actually know your name. And I remember being in New York, I think, after, because, you know, the show came out and people forget about what the kind of numbers our show did. But in the United States, we had shows we did 45 million people watching. You know, now the biggest show will do 15 or 20, you know, 18 million people. We were averaging 35 and 40 million people. So it was overnight one of those just, everyone was just obsessed with the show. We were on the cover of Newsweek after about 2 weeks. So we'd gone from absolute obscurity, you know, no one knew who we were. In fact, we shot the pilot and the show was picked up and we went across the street. There's a place called Smokehouse, which is a restaurant, to eat. It was like, all the actors, Tony Edwards, Juliana Margulies, all of us, and we're dressed in our doctor schmucks because we're doing a show. But the show hasn't been on the air yet. And Tony has a little baby boy who he gives a French fry to, and he starts like to choke on the French fry. And now you've got 6 actors, not and we're like, somebody do something! And everybody in the restaurant's like, do something! What's wrong with you people?
Yeah, never go to their hospital.
No. That's a terrible hospital right there.
Now, the oddest thing is it true this Comic-Con was sort of part of your honeymoon?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes. Here's the thing. Now, you know, I got a call. I was on my honeymoon, and they said, "This is very important. You have to do it. You know, fly in, please. You have to do it." And you know, I had to first explain that to my wife, which didn't play well. And then the whole idea of, you know, spending part of your honeymoon with people dressed up like Captain Kirk and Star Wars characters somehow is not easy to explain to your bride, to your new bride. But I showed up, and it was, I think you're right, it was really fun because they actually love, they all dress, they love what they do, and it's a very passionate thing. And I've never done a film, well, I did one film, Batman and Robin, which was a, yes. Oh, thank you. This was a disaster. But other than that, there's no reason for me to have ever done anything to go to Comic-Con.
But didn't you apologize to the crowd at Comic-Con for Batman and Robin?
I always apologize for Batman. Let me just say that I actually thought I destroyed the franchise until they brought it back. You know, somebody else brought it back years later and changed it. But, you know, I thought at the time this was going to be a very good career move. It wasn't.
But you talk about how the suit was the enemy.
Well, the suit's brutal. You know, at the time, particularly, it weighed like, I don't know, 60 pounds, and it takes, you know, you have to... there was a director named Joel Schumacher, who's a very funny man, very tall, very sort of eccentric, and he would direct with a speaker and with a microphone and a speaker. Usually directors will come up and say, "Hey," he'll be like, "Okay," and you'd hear this, you know, giant booming voice. And I bolted into this suit. I can't move. And he would literally go, and he would direct you like as if you would have some emotional scene. He would go, "Okay, people, all right, George, you know, your parents are dead. You have nothing to live for. And action." You up and then go, I'm Batman. And cut. Fantastic experience for me.
I deserve the clap. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was good fun.
George, because you are so good at everything. You
Sure.
Write, you are. You write, you direct, you act.
Yeah,
all these
yeah,
things.
yeah.
And you have this musical heritage.
Yes. My aunt was a very famous singer named Rosemary Clooney, and she stars in a movie called White Christmas, and she was a huge pop singer in the 50s and then became a great jazz singer later on in her life. A fantastic singer. My father actually had an album and sang. My other aunt, Betty, was a famous singer and sang with the big bands. My mother has no musical skills at all, and she, how do you say this on television? The gene pool. Yeah.
But wasn't there a time when you didn't know you couldn't sing?
No, I didn't know. I thought I could sing. And then and a very successful album came from it. The fact that I didn't sing in it, which was, we were doing Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And the soundtrack ended up winning
amazing.
Album of the Year.
Incredible
and,
album.
and was the biggest soundtrack for 2 years. I mean, it was a huge deal. And the Coen brothers, who were the directors, sort of assumed that I could sing because I was Rosemary Clooney's nephew. T-Bone Burnett, the very famous producer, assumed I could sing. I assumed I could sing. And then we got to the recording studio to sing Man of Constant Sorrow, and they've got the band in there, and they put you in a glass booth, and I start, and I've really worked on it. And I finish the song, and I look up like, and everyone's looking at the ground. And I'm like, say, you know, you suck. So I walk into the booth and they're like, well, let's play it back. And they play it back, and it sounds like a baby seal being killed. And I'm like, oh my God, it's horrible. But I didn't, you know, I don't want to say that, you know. And they're like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, I think it's great. You're then we have a problem. And then I was like, okay, I get it. Bring it. And they brought in a guy to do my voice and sing the song, and it was a massive hit. You know? So they don't let me sing anywhere now.
Now, the thing I must ask you about, because when your co-stars were here
Yes.
for Monuments Men, Matt Damon...
Oh, my God, that show.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah, he talked about how mean you were to him on set.
Yeah.
So, you didn't torture these people?
Not
No, no.
nothing we know about so far.
Don't go to your hotel room.
Because famously, you have this ongoing thing with Brad Pitt. So,
I've done some terrible things to Brad. Wait, Brad's done some terrible things to me, too.
so how did it start?
I don't remember how. We were doing Ocean's 11, I think it was the first one. And I don't remember what it was. I think initially, one of my favorite things is to get those things that go around your license plate or a bumper sticker, because you never go to the back of your car and look. And put it on people's cars, because it's funny and they can ride around, you know, with some horrible, you know, embarrassing bumper sticker. And I found a bumper sticker in the shape of a pot plant that said cops. I put it on the back of his car because I figured there's no way you don't get pulled over. I mean, there's no way. And he got pulled over. And then he went on, I think, Letterman and said, you know, Letterman asked him when he and Angie would get married, and he said, when George can legally marry in the United States. He didn't want to. And it just kept going back and forth with that for a while. And then it was, I had stationery made up with his name, and then I would send letters to other actors from Brad Pitt. I sent Meryl Streep a letter from Brad where I got a big thing of CDs that had, it was a dialect coach. And he had like every dialect, you know, Gaelic, Yiddish, every dialect you could possibly, and this huge thing. And I sent it to her with a note from Brad that said, you know, I hear you're going to be doing the Iron Lady soon. This guy helped me with my dialect in Troy or something. You know, here, I thought maybe this would help. And I sent it to Meryl, and, you know, she's very confused. I understand it. And I sent letters to lots and lots of people from Brad.
And is that you don't tell either of them?
I don't tell either, no. I later, like a year or 2 years later, I let them know, and then they're like, are you kidding me? I'm doing one now that I can't tell you about, but in a year you're going to hear that I've been arrested. And I'm not kidding, because I think I've crossed the line.
Oh, no. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's exciting. I have a wife, she's a barrister, I'll be fine.